Let's look at this WordWork problem. Here we have the graph of f. F is in blue, and it is 1 to 1. It passes the horizontal line test. Now, what are you asked for here? You're not asked for f of -4. You're asked for f inverse of -4. And so what not to do is to go to -4 and up 2. The answer to this is not 2. That would have been the correct answer if the question had been, what is f evaluated at -4? That's not the question here. This is the graph of f. You're being asked for f inverse of these values. So if you have a point on the graph of f, and f is 1 to 1, then f maps the x coordinate into the y coordinate, but f inverse maps the y coordinate into the x coordinate. And so what we have here is you've been asked for f inverse of -4. So you're going to look for the point whose y coordinate is -4, and f inverse will map it into the x coordinate. So let's come on the y. 1, 2, 3, -4. This is the point 0, -4. So the point 0, -4 is on the graph of f. And so what f inverse does is it maps the y into the x. If that point is on f, f inverse will map -4 into 0. All right, what is f inverse of -3? Well, I go to -3 on the y-axis. That point is on the graph of f. So that point has coordinates -1, -3. So -1, -3 is on the graph of f. And so what f inverse will do is it maps the y coordinate into the x coordinate. So f inverse evaluated at -3 is equal to -1. So let me just check those. Okay, and they're matching up with the correct answer. So we should know how to do those now. Again, you are given the graph of f in blue, and they do not ask you for domain of f and range of f. You're asked for domain of f inverse and range of f inverse. Okay, so what you see in blue is f. So from the graph, what is the domain of f? Well, I use the x-axis to measure how wide. And we start at and include -4 and go all the way up to and include +3. So I'm using the x-axis to measure how wide. Getting the domain and range of a graph of a function is taught in Math 100. So the domain of f is going to be the closed interval from -4 all the way up to 3. Now what about the range of f? Well, if you have a graph of a function in Math 100, you use the y-axis to measure how tall. So going from bottom to top, that corresponds to -1. The point is filled in, so I will include it. If it's hollowed out, I don't include it, but it's filled in, so I'm going to start at -1. And I'm going to look for the highest point, and so I go from -1, and I don't have any gaps, all the way up to, and I will include 6. Okay. Now, that's the domain and range of f. That is not what you were asked for. You're asked for a domain and range of F inverse. But from our lessons on a function and its inverse, if F is 1 to 1, then the domain of F is the same thing as the range of F inverse. And the range of F is the same thing as the domain of F inverse. So you swap domain and ranges on a one-to-one function. So we want domain of F inverse. Domain of F inverse is going to be -1 to 6, and the endpoints are enclosed here. Your graph may not have it. And then the domain of F, oops, sorry, go back here. Let's do domain of F inverse first. Domain of F inverse is this, so I need to write it on this line, -1 to 6, my bad. And then the range of F inverse is going to be the domain of F, and that'll be -4, 3. And then I'll check those answers. Okay. So those are the two ones that get the most confusion because the student doesn't answer the question. Okay, you were not asked for the domain of F. You were asked for the domain of F inverse. This is the graph of F. Okay, and the same with the last problem. You're asked for F inverse of those points. So that's the important thing to remember there.